And a lot of times people want to say, well, it's black people doing it to themselves. But white people have a responsibility to try to be part of fixing this problem because they're part of creating the problem.
Langford Cunningham. And boy, the text line is going crazy. People just love him. What a great message.
Love a straight talker.
St. Louis man says he had to lose his sight in order to find his vision.
See, today we forgot about the message. We have to get back to a message.
And it's the commercialization and exploitation of our culture that continues this vicious cycle of death, darkness, and destruction.
Got a lot of the females rapping today, okay? They twerking, they're doing prostitution on records, leading little girls into the strip clubs. That leads into human trafficking. They don't promote Taylor Swift like that.
Right.
But our black women gotta get prostituted in the industry. Because these kids are listening to the music too. A lot of this music, especially in the hip hop culture, these kids are rapping about their pain. They're rapping about the drugs they are taking. We have really lost our values in some things that we used to have values for. But America needs to pay attention to this epidemic suicide. It's a lot of kids in a lot of different communities, black, white, it doesn't matter. We have to start investing in our community. Elon Musk made a comment that hands up, don't shoot, it was a hoax. How you feel about that, Mike Brown Sr.?
Those words wouldn't have never been said if that wouldn't have never happened to Mike Brown Jr. So what you saying, what happened to Mike Brown Jr. was fake? Hey, people be playing with the wrong folks, man.
They left the responsibility onto you to search for your daughter. You didn't get no assistance from the police department. You didn't get no assistance from the political officials.
No, I did not.
Let's elaborate more on this service station.
A human trafficking ring that was going on at that mobile. They arrested the guy, and as soon as he got out, the station was back open once again.
It's the Blind City Podcast Takeover, you know.
You know who's the most dangerous man in the world is?
Who?
A blind man with vision. Thank you. Reba Dirty. BlindCityThePodcast.com. We're here tonight with another spectacular show. And what I'm doing tonight, we need to hear more voices from the men in our community. I know they got this feminist movement going on in the black community, this ratchetness. But now it's time to bring some classiness and some common sense to our community. And I have brought two guests to sit at the table with me tonight. And we're going to get into some deep discussions, talking about the teen suicide, period, not just teens, young adults. We're going to talk about the schools in our community. We got the great Mark Kasem from Cartner-Retner, instructor, Radio Hall of Famer, producer of The Onion Heart Show. And we also got my friend, best friend I brought to the table. I call him the Hoodologist. His name is Trill. And we're going to get into some deep discussions tonight on ABC 30, BlindCityPodcast.com. LC, I'm your host tonight. Classiness over ratchetness. We need common sense in our community. Mark Kasem, how you doing, sir?
You know, I'm doing great, Langford, and it's nice to be out here, although I have to say it is the coldest day of the year, isn't it?
Well, I don't know if it's the coldest. I know we're going to get there, though. I know it's the beginning.
Yeah.
And we got the Hoodologist, Trill. How you doing, man?
Feeling good, feeling good. I say great and grateful. That's how I'm feeling.
Oh, great and grateful. I
Great
like
and
that.
grateful.
Well, fellas, let's go to the first topic. We got suicide in the African-American community with our boys and girls. It was a young lady this morning. I got a phone call from Mike Brown that I knew. She was on some of my past episodes. She's a great R&B singer. And she was talking about she was tired of living and she wanted to end her life. Then we lost another young lady that was on one of my past podcasts, Queens in the Trap, rest in peace, Ty Red. Some of you may know her in the street. She was a rapper, and she lost her life a few months ago, and rest in peace. And I'm best friends with her father, Dino. People may know of him as Suave Trey back in the day as a rapper. But this epidemic of suicide is going rapid in our community. I'm going to start with you, Mark Kasem. You work with a lot of our young people over there at Cartner-Rittner. What's your feelings on this?
Well, I happened to ask some of my students just this week if they thought that social media was a cause of these kids killing themselves. And they said no. They said they don't think that's it at all. Now, I don't know what the reason is, and they don't seem to know either. That is my students. But as far as whether it's social media, and a lot of people believe that it's social media. A lot of people are very disturbed by what's going on with social media. And I know also that people try to control their kids to either not use something or not watch something or not be connected in some way to some kind of app or something out there. But all I can say to you, Langford, in my experience, for what it's worth, a lot of years with my own kids and in schools, you're not going to convince kids to do anything except for what they want to do. And as far as them killing themselves for this reason, that is that because they're accessing some sort of information, I mean, personally, I wouldn't think that's it either. But like I say, my kids think that's not it. Who's right? I can't tell you at this point. But the fact that there are kids killing themselves, well, that's terrible. And then, of course, we saw just in the last couple of days, what happened in Maine, where, this guy was in a mental hospital. He comes out and he starts shooting people in a bowling alley. So there's a lot of mental health issues out here, Langford. And I can't tell you why, but we all know they're here.
Right. Hoodologist, Trill, what's your take on this? Because you're very familiar. I know you lost your son. It wasn't to suicide, though. But you know how it is to losing a child with these parents out here and not even to think about losing your child, of them killing themselves.
That's definitely, losing a child is definitely a hard thing I wouldn't wish on anybody, have to go through. And I definitely think social media nowadays does. The kids, they don't want to accept that social media does because this is their generation. It's their way of communicating. They feel like it's okay. But to me, being like an old school, coming from, they don't really know how to deal with emotional things without putting it on social media or even how somebody responds to them. So they really feel like everybody's watching me, or I gotta say something, or they don't know how to turn the computer off. If it's that, but they don't, it gets to them. And I think some parents now, they don't know how to explain that to the youth also, for as like how it was to how it is. Kind of, it's got to be like a medium ground with these kids. But that's why the social media really does. They really pay attention to how someone likes them or looks at them.
But don't you think, Trill, that you really can't turn their computers off or turn their phones off?
Oh, no.
Because they're not going to go for that.
And they're not going to go for it, and they're going to see it anyway. It's so many avenues to look at things nowadays. They're going to see it. So you have to have real conversations with these kids at small ages to where
that's it.
Real reality things, you can't tell the kids, I'll go in the other room now. This is grown folks. You don't need to know nothing about this. No, you need to know how we handle certain things now, no more hiding it from them. Because the world is putting everything out here for these kids to see. So they need guidance at a young age. Start young.
And also, our family structure has been damaged severely. Plays a part in this, too.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of these kids are expressing this pain in their music. A lot of music on the radio, they're talking about they want to die. They also, the family structure with these kids are pretty much raising themselves out here in these streets.
Oh, yeah, that's where a lot of starts from home. It's
Exactly.
the ripple effect of how you view life from what you learn in your household.
Exactly. And it has damaged the black community, I think, to the point that we have never seen before. I think we're at a Holocaust in our community right now. And the people really don't know how this suicide is real serious with these young people. Number one, they not scared to die. We're not just going to talk about the murders throughout our community with the black-on-black crime. Death is a big part of their way of life now, Mr. Kasem.
Yeah, although it's interesting, you said the black-on-black crime problem, and I want to mention to you that there is a great professor, a young professor over at Washington University, and he has done terrific research that shows that a lot of the places where the crime is occurring, where the violence occurs, these are places where racial violence has existed for a long period of time. This is something that's been brought forward to where we are right now. But Jeff Ward over at WashU has found that a lot of this is a result, at least he believes, of the white violence that occurred in some of these areas as far back as we can see. And so that to try to disconnect this from the crime that white people have committed in this country, I think you can't do that. I think that, sure, you don't want black people to be hurting each other, and when they do, yes, you're going to have to call it out. But I think you also have to realize that other people share some of the blame and the burden for what has occurred out here. And so they have a responsibility, and I say they, white people, have a responsibility to try to be part of fixing this problem because they're part of creating the problem.
I think I ain't never heard that before. That is a powerful statement. Trill, what do you think about that what Mr. Kasem just said?
Definitely need to help out with this action. You know, they've been saying they're gonna help, but we need action.
Right.
That's what we need. But I mean, most definitely, it's gonna take everybody to help get everything to a more peaceful thing and everything. Us working within ourselves first of all, before anybody can come in and help us. We as black people got to help ourselves. Look at our own selves differently. You know, from no matter what background we went through, let's start with right here, the hurt that we are doing in our own community to each other.
And that's where I stand on it.
Same
too.
way with
accountability.
Yeah, and all that's true, but Wentzville, as an example, in the Post-Dispatch this week, there was an article out there explaining that the school officials in Wentzville are allowing anti-black activity at their schools, and that when people are bullying black kids, that it's being allowed. And look, it's worse than even being allowed, I'm going to say. It's really started, it's generated by these people who are out here, for example, trying to stop black history in the public schools. What are we talking about? We always say, oh, well, it's 2023 and things are better. Well, guess what? Starting with this idiot Youngkin in Virginia back a couple of years ago where he got elected by telling white people that he would help to knock down all this blackness in our society. This has just grown everywhere. Look at Florida. In Florida, they banned a book, first about Hank Aaron, and secondly, a book about Roberto Clemente. Now, explain to me, why would white people be banning books about Roberto Clemente and Hank Aaron, except for the fact that they're black? That's all that this is about.
Yeah, and I think because of the white people that chose to do this, they don't want the new white generation to find out about the past of what black people have been through, how they got kidnapped, how they got chained and shackled. They don't want their kids to know that history because they know today's white kids' generation get along with black people. They having babies by black people.
That is true.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
They are scared of the swirl.
And they admit it, that they don't want their children to feel uncomfortable. They say it.
Exactly.
You know, and the answer is they better feel uncomfortable because they've done something here that is a crime.
Exactly.
Everything that hip hop is doing, first to go gold, first to go platinum, first on the cover of Rolling Stone. I don't even play basketball and I got a sneaker deal like Michael Jordan. There's got to be more to life to this, and I couldn't figure it out. Long story short, I was an alcoholic, suicidal, metaphysical, spiritual wreck who was thinking of killing himself. And I was like,
While all this was going on.
yeah, Down with the King was out and this and that, but that's where I was at. I was DMC to y'all, but inside there was turmoil.
And let me say this to you on-air DJs and radio hosts. The music that you play in our community that degrades us as a people and promote drugs and prostitution through records. How can you sleep at night? Is it really that bad? You got to get a check from killing your own people?
If you found this content helpful, please share this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Blind City, the podcast.
From Donald J. Trump, that maniacal criminal who is currently indicted on 91 different counts of felonies, because he's a criminal.
Well, you got black people that voted for Trump,
Well,
too.
no, they did.
Yeah, no. The younger generations, that rapper Sexy Red,
Some did.
they say they vote for Trump because Trump gave them a stipend and some money.
He bought some votes.
It's still very small. It's under 10%. 90% of black people vote for Democrats. So that's
And how long they been voting for that?
a very long time. And listen,
It seemed like whether you vote Republican or Democrat, black people still in the same damn position.
Well,
where have we changed that? Where has it at? I mean, I'm serious.
well, for the black community,
Talk to
that
me.
is true.
Where
but
has
I
it
will
go?
say this, that if not for black people, I hate to tell you who would be running this country. And that is a fact. Black votes have been so meaningful in this country for decades now that it's really something that
So if the black
when
vote
people wanna
count, why are we a red state?
Well,
why is Missouri a red state for the last 5-6 years? Why we can't flip it? What's the problem?
Well, first of all, maps, and this is something that's certainly in the news right now. The maps for voting for setting up the districts.
See, here come the game.
You know,
Come on. See, it's always a loophole with
they
this,
have
bro.
all been
Watch.
set up to support Republicans.
Well, who did the setup like this?
Okay, and it's set up by whites have done this, white Republicans.
So why do they tell people to vote if it's rigged?
Hang on. So it's in the
To
courts
look for
right
the
now.
looks.
It's in the courts right now, and it's been stopped in Georgia. The courts told Georgia, you can't do this. Make a new map. Now, South Carolina, on the other hand, they got away with their map. But this is the case in Missouri and other states as well. So it's a fight. It's a fight. But if you don't vote, then you have no part in any of this. And those
But they
bad
telling you
people
to
get
vote.
everything they want.
No, I agree with you, but they telling you to vote and it's still getting rigged. Bro, they keep moving the goalposts. Why they keep moving the goalposts? We know why. See, black people in 3 years will not be the majority race. It will be the Hispanics. So blacks won't even count because we're dying at a high rate right now, brother. The Hispanics in 3 years will outnumber black people, and then they will be the people that the Democrats will say, we don't need them Negroes no more. They dying. We need y'all vote because y'all taking over.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, but not funny. And that is because
It's deep. You see it in the neighborhoods. Even
They cut all the grass. They
even
doing
in the black
everything.
neighborhoods. We starting to come like California, where it's a lot of races mixed in our neighborhoods, and they are taking over. They buying houses and whole families living together good. And
But the interesting part of it is, I always saw this with my friend Onion Horton. Onion used to say
Hold on,
things,
tell the people who Onion is, so that they don't know. We got a younger generation watching this.
the greatest black broadcaster in the history of St. Louis. Period. He was.
Facts.
And let me say that he always made your point. He said just what you're saying, Trill, and what you're saying, Langford. He said, he was upset about Hispanics, and I'll tell you why he was upset. Because he said that what they wanted was to be white.
I don't know. I don't agree with that.
I hear that.
But
I hear
right,
that.
I just feel like they just want what we have here on this side of America, more opportunity, and we do have it. We complain about a lot of stuff that they don't take advantage. They take advantage of. being able to just work and save
exactly.
us certain things.
That is exactly the point. That they want the advantages they want to see if they can be not black because they fear being treated like black people are treated in this country.
Right now, that's the thing. They don't want to be treated like that.
Well, let's get to it then.
We all get treated like that.
Let's
the
get to
Bosnians
it.
on the south side feel the same way too.
Exactly. And the Arabs, all them families are together. The Hispanics, the Arabs, the Bosnians put family first. Black people are the only people on the planet that don't put family first. They put themselves first. That's why we are in the position we are in. We work as individuals. Everybody else put family first for their motivation, except us. That's why we're at the bottom of the totem pole.
Our percentage of that is small. It's starting to get back better, I think. And I think a lot of it should be with like therapy within families. You know, sit down, talk about past stuff, get past it, but that has been our thing, but that's definitely, we start within building our own families up. We definitely can build our
Well, we don't up the bar, though.
Just like with the votes.
We don't
talk
up the
about
bar.
the presidency, but the main votes that change closer to us are the smaller votes. That's why we need to make more of the changes.
Well, you're talking about the local votes, right? The judges,
everything,
right? They don't, but they don't even understand the political structure in our community. They don't even teach the kids that in public schools.
Well, they're not teaching it in any of the schools, and they're not even teaching it in the white schools. And it's a disaster that we don't teach civics to young people. We just don't do it.
They did when I was in school
Well, they
in
did,
the
but
80s.
they've stopped. But they've stopped.
Why?
Everywhere.
See, this is what I'm saying, man. What's going on?
Well, because
they pulling it out for a reason.
Because they think that they've got to get these kids to pass a certain test so that they can get paid by some governmental agency that says, oh, they've met their mark. So that's another mess. But let me say this, guys. Again, the black community didn't get this way because there's something wrong with black people. Because there's nothing wrong with black people. There's something wrong with the way black people have been treated for generations. And trying to get up out of that mess is what we're trying to do as, hopefully, people who look at this and go, wow, what's been done is wrong, and we need to fix it. But here's the problem. Ever since the Supreme Court in 1954, because you mentioned segregation, ever since they said, you can't segregate these schools anymore. Black kids have to be allowed to go to schools with white kids. Ever since that, you've had people out here, all white, fighting, trying to do anything they could to stop it, to stop black people from being around their kids.
They still doing it in St. Louis.
They're doing it everywhere.
They still doing it. Have you seen the football fields in West County? Have you seen the buildings? Have you seen CBC? The SMAT? And then you travel to the north side. Look at the schools falling apart. How old is Sumner and it hasn't been renovated? It is ridiculous.
Yeah,
and they practice segregation in this state.
I will tell you this,
They pushing them Negroes all up Hall's Ferry, man. They redlining the community
and that's
still,
true.
Mr. Casey.
That's true. And that's what has to be fought. But let me say, when you describe all these other football fields, Cardinal Ritter has the best football field that you have ever seen.
In the city.
Anywhere. They have the best in St. Louis, I can tell you. That look.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
Let me say this. Hold on. You
and let me
speak.
tell you why.
Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
Because I don't want to miss this. Okay? I don't want to miss this. Since we're on the school. Speaking of Cardinal Ritter, let me say this to the people out there. I had a privilege to come up to Cardinal Ritter with Mr. Casey and saw what he's teaching to the class and also other teachers that I walked into the class. And let me tell you something. I've never seen a school so structured. Even the transition in the hallways of the kids, urban kids, no horseplay, laughing, following the rules, and getting to class. Man, it's a structured environment that the staff and that principal, what's the principal name over there?
Craig Edwards.
Doing a miraculous job at Cardinal Ritter. And I'm telling any parents right now, if you can afford that school, you need to get your sons and daughters in that school because our kids need structure real bad. And I'm on record to say right now, Cardinal Ritter College Prep is better than Harris Poe University. Haspo, Hasto. They pregnancy rate is higher than their graduation rate, damn it.
Yeah.
And I'll put $1,000, take one of Cardinal Ritter students against Hasto students and put an ACT in front of them. I guarantee you Cardinal Ritter will dust their ass. What you think, Mr. Casey?
Well, I think this, and you said Craig Edwards, you asked that question. So let's also say that Pam Hamilton, who is the assistant principal, and then also let's say the president of the school, Tamiko Armstead, and this is the important thing to understand. The strength of Cardinal Ritter is the same thing that you would see at any other school. It all comes from the top. So either you have strength that comes from the top, which makes everything work beautifully, or you have weakness at the top, which you see in most places, which is why these schools are horrible. And it's so important to understand this. Cardinal Ritter, the students are black. And it is excellent.
And organized.
And organized. And listen, it's not because somebody comes in and tells those kids, you must do this, and that they obey. Because kids aren't like that. They don't just obey.
No.
But here's the thing. You ask a kid at Cardinal Ritter, what's up at this school? And they're all going to say the same thing. Family. They say that the school is a family. They have been respected. They have not been forced to comply. They've been respected, and that works everywhere.
And that's the answer black people got to find back in their community. We got to get back to family, not individualism, not selfishness. We got to put family first, because if we don't, they all going to end up in a hearse. Blind City Podcast, man, what a great discussion tonight with my two guests. Mark Kasem from Cardinal Ritter College Prep, Radio Hall of Famer, producer of the Onion Hard Show, and the Hoodologist, my man Trill. And before we get out of here, fellas, I want to get the last word from each one of you. Trill, we'll start with you. What hope and inspiration can you give to the people out there in our community?
Man, like we say, get back to family. Get back to your community. Start there. Start loving on your people, giving them direction, talking to them, listening, not just talking at them. You know what I'm saying? Listen. Get your family structure together. And treat everybody the same and fairly, man. Learn how to balance your feelings and emotions. That's what a lot of people get them in trouble, not knowing how to balance those things, So, hey, my thing is balance brings peace. So,
I love that. Balance brings peace. I like that. I like that.
Your life is in your hands, the balance of it.
Mark Kasem?
Well, I'm going to say this to you, Langford. I don't think it'll surprise you. I broadcast on 104.9 with Jamie Allman from time to time, whenever he wants to try to fight with me. And if he listened to what we did here tonight, which he will, he would disagree with almost everything that we've said. So I just want you to know that, even though he's a great man with his 15 Emmy Awards in the St. Louis marketplace, but he would disagree with everything that we've said, and I will say this, he's wrong.
Well, let me tell you how I feel about these award shows in St. Louis. Just like I feel about the United Snakes of America. They rigged.
I hear you.
Thank you for coming tonight.
You bet.
I had to lose my sight to find my vision. BlindCityPodcast.com.
If you found this content helpful, please share this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Blind City the Podcast.